welcome. Oh, my gosh.
All right.
That's
Is he
perfect.
the ringmaster?
You're taking it for all it's worth.
Can't wait another year.
Oh, that was so good. That was such a great show. We were just talking about it in the Loving Stitches group a little while ago, how wonderful the show was. So, this is Ashley, just so you know, this is Chris Simone. Ashley is a student intern here with Pam for a few months this summer, and she's sitting in on our meeting today. So,
Very good.
yes.
That's a great opportunity.
Yeah. And Susan is taking the notes. Bob Stetson is not here, so Susan will be taking our minutes for us. I think you're caught up now.
We have a new guest.
And we have, we have another guest, two more guests. So, I don't know your last name either. Dottie Louise.
Ruiz. R-U-I-Z.
R-U-I-Z. I should know that.
And
I
Mr. Bergman,
apologize.
Town
And
Administrator.
Keith Bergman is here. And Keith is going to speak to us on the agenda. Would you like us to move you up? Or
Sure, move me up and out.
up and out?
Whenever you're ready.
Well, it might, I know your time is valuable, not that ours isn't either, but, you know, it's just that I know that maybe it's best if we could do that.
But the person who asked the question
Isn't
isn't
here,
here,
so-
so might want to wait a few minutes.
Well, okay, we'll wait
I can wait, sure.
a few minutes, anyway.
At least
So,
a few.
all right, I think we've covered everybody who is here as a guest. And just a reminder that this is an open meeting, and that we will adhere to the open meeting laws. Thank you kindly. Do we have announcements from any of the board members?
I have one. It's kind of, it's just a FYI. During my recent not wellness, I was at the doctor's office a number of times, and each time there was a sign that said, need a personal trainer, want a personal trainer, can't afford a personal trainer. Comcast, Infinity, and Fios offer free exercise videos from 10 minutes on if you go to sports and fitness on your
On demand?
on demand, thank you, on your guide, your on-demand guide. You can exercise for free
Wow.
for 10 minutes or more, whatever your thing is. So I thought that was, you know, there are people who don't get out in the winter who can't get out in the winter.
That's good information.
Yeah,
Very good. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay.
I have to go home and change.
I know, huh?
Oh, yes, very fancy.
you.
I didn't know whether or not this was the appropriate time, but I went to a viewing of The Genius of Marion over in Concord, at the Concord Senior Center.
Ah,
It's a film on Alzheimer's. I don't know whether you want to report now or later.
can you give us a brief synopsis
Well, it's
real
a film
quickly?
on
Just
on a young woman, age 61, who develops Alzheimer's. It was an hour-and-a-half film, and then there was a panel discussion on recognizing signs and support mechanisms from Council of Aging and Alzheimer's. Absolutely a marvelous film. Her mother also was an artist, and how the family kept her active through the paintings of her mother.
Oh,
And the Alzheimer's unit is sending me some brochures that I could share with your group on just talking about the film for 5 or 10 minutes, and then going over some of the brochures of recognizing signs of the beginning of early dementia, early onset Alzheimer's, because she was only 61, and what Alzheimer's offers for support. It was absolutely marvelous,
wonderful.
absolutely beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that with us, and you're setting a wonderful example, I think, because, you know, we talked last meeting about getting to educational things and at least once during the year. And that's a wonderful example of an educational thing that has to do with seniors that can benefit our seniors here in this community. So, thank you, Patty. And if other people do take advantage of things like this and they want to give a little brief synopsis at a meeting, it would be great, I think, because information is so critically important. So, any other announcements? Yes, George.
On the diner, they're gonna be shutting down there the 26th there, so as far as the seniors with the chips, I checked with the director, and we're gonna put them in room 230, was it 230? Room 230, so they have to come upstairs and get the chips, because they don't have room over there in the dining facility that they're gonna make available over there.
Okay.
So the chips are gonna be there.
They won't be down in the diner, correct? I think we're pretty well. There's going to be an update on the kitchen project, so we can get into that a little bit more, too. Anyone else?
Did I miss at the beginning? Did we acknowledge the Follies and the production?
No.
No.
We did. You walked in. No.
Frankie Valley.
You walked in,
You
right?
missed it. You missed it, Mr. Bergman.
Yes.
Can
What can we say? You know, the main Jersey boys, the lead of the Jersey boys arrived
He was
today.
here just a minute ago.
Yes.
I don't know where he went.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, there were 4 seasons, but
It was wonderful.
Certainly worth noting the very hard work that Barbara, and we have Barbara McCrae here as well today from the Friends, and now having participated in a season of the Follies, I can see there's way more work that they put into pulling that off than you would think. Months and months, and organization, and meeting after meeting after meeting, and coordination of so many people, and performances, and outfits, and volunteers, and facility, and you know, motorcycles figuring out to get on stage, and sirens, and gongs, and everything else that went into it. They make it look easy, but that's not an easy undertaking. And the seniors in town certainly had a nice
Yes.
afternoon, and it raised a lot of money, and it's because of significant work.
And you know, I'd like to piggyback on that, because when the second show was over this year, I thought to myself, this is a wonderful example of how great Littleton is. And you had board members participating, you had friends participating, and you had seniors in town participating. And it was just spoke volumes about Littleton and our group. And I made up my mind that I was going to send a copy of that, a tape of it, to Emmett, because the state should be aware of how great we are here in Littleton, I think, so.
I do want to say, though, that, first of all, it was fun to do, and I consider it like a playground. It's not work, it's a playground. But the other thing is, it really didn't belong to the Council on Aging or the Friends or anybody like that. It was the one woman right there, Barbara, saying, let's put on a play. And then we slinked around looking at people saying, there's a good example, and there's somebody that would do it, and then just started doing it. So it really was
A community
a
project.
senior thing in a way, you know.
Oh, it was a wonderful example of a great senior thing, so.
Now,
And the finale, you know, just ties it all up and says it all, you know. I
now, for
think.
people watching this meeting that didn't get a chance to see the show,
Right.
you can get the DVD.
Yeah.
That's
Is
right.
it available now?
It will be available. Is it available yet? Yes. It is available. It is available, the DVD now?
It is,
Yep.
yes.
Great.
It's been made up. Eventually it'll be on television too, but we're waiting
Yeah.
till.
Well, you have a customer here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to send it off.
Good,
So.
thank you.
All right. Other announcements. I have one, just a quick one, and it's just that I wanted to mention the fact that Tim Goddard, our town moderator at the town meeting Monday, put a plug in for the needs assessment. And I thought it was
yay.
wonderful of him to, you know, get that out there and to encourage people to fill it out when they get it, explaining to them the value of it and the fact that, you know, we are paying for this to happen, and please follow through. So, thank you, town moderator.
Yes.
It was very, very nice. All right. Can we quickly go over the minutes? And then perhaps we'll move Keith up on the agenda. We talked before you came in, George, about moving Keith up on the agenda, and you're here now, so we can do that, I think. But first of all, let's take a quick look at the minutes of the April 13th meeting.
Number 5, it says the Girl Scouts will make a lunch of us on May 27th. I think that's a typo.
For us.
I don't know.
We can fix that, thank you. Anything else, any other corrections? It was sent out to you, so if there are no other corrections?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes with the correction.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, anyone opposed? Thank you. Okay. So, we're going to move Keith up. He's under new, we had it down in the agenda under new business, difference between EHS and the COA. If it's all right with everybody, before you, as I said, George, before you came in, we agreed that we
Yeah,
would do
that's
that,
no problem.
okay? So why don't we do that now and let him,
I brought a visual aid. Rather than make a lot of copies, have an electronic copy
Save a tree.
of the agreement that was signed back in 2013. There you go.
and you all have a copy of this in your manuals, by the way, I do believe.
But there was a question, and just to give some perspective on what this document is, that there was a memorandum of agreement that was signed between the Council on Aging and the Board of Selectmen. This is the full text of the document. We don't need to drill down into it, but you all of the sitting members of the board in March of 2013 signed the document, which contained the general statement of the council's desire to act in an advisory capacity in keeping with best practices for councils on aging that the state had advocated. That it defined what the roles are of the chairperson, of the director, and for myself as the town administrator interacting with the director. So and so we codified what that relationship was. Here are the best practices that we excerpt from the state. That's part of the document. We have a job description of the then newly created position of Director of Elder and Human Services, which codified what the relationship was between the Board of Selectmen and the Council on Aging and the staff. And then you amended your rules and regulations to reflect all of those other agreements. And with respect to the particular question about whose budget is it, that the budget is the Director of Elder and Human, it's the Department of Elder and Human Services budget. And it has been since we signed the agreement. It's a Department of Elder and Human Services. It's submitted to the Council on Aging for your review and your recommendation prior to our bringing it to town meeting. And the director then comes back and updates you on the status of that budget every month. But with respect to whose budget is it, it's the elder, and this is an excerpt just from the town meeting that we just completed here. This is an excerpt of one of the pages where the budget was adopted for the new year. It would have the actual from 2014 budget for 2015 and the request for 2016, and it's an Elder and Human Services budget. And so it's under the direction of the Director of Elder and Human Services. And that's consistent with all the documents and agreements that we signed up to this point. The purpose of bringing the budget to the Council on Aging, though, is to foster communication between the staff and your board, to make sure that whatever areas the department is focusing on reflect what your policy priorities are. So that's the purpose of asking for your recommendation before the budget goes to town meeting, and it's the reason why the director updates you every month on the budget to keep you in the loop about it. But when it comes to, you know, making expenditures therefrom, the hiring of the staff, and spending the money out of the budget, that's all done under the Director of Elder and Human Services, under my supervision as town administrator and her immediate supervisor, and in compliance with all of the, you know, financial procedures that we have in place for expenses and salaries. So in a nutshell, that's the answer, which I wanted to bring to you, and be glad to answer any questions about how that works, or if there's some ways we can make the communication better. Be happy to do that.
Susan, do you have a question?
Yes. With the board having changed so often, do we re-sign this document every X number of years? So whatever that board decided is how it'll be.
Whatever that board and that Board of Selectmen decided remains in place until those two boards, whoever's sitting for those two boards, changes it. What we've done in the meantime, though, I mean, that agreement that we reached in 2013 was one of, there were multiple steps in a process, and one of those other steps that we did was to change the way the budgeting is done, so that there used to be something called the Council on Aging budget. There isn't anymore. It's called the Elder and Human Services budget, and that's what town meeting has been voting on for the last several years. Also, the appointing authority for the staff changed. That it used to be the Council on Aging was the appointing authority for the director, and indeed, I think, for some of the other positions. By our mutual agreement, we changed that, and to carry it out. And one of the things that's in the memorandum of agreement was this board's recommendation and joint support for amending our town bylaw to change the appointing authority from the Council on Aging to the town administrator with the approval of the Council on Aging and the approval of the Board of Selectmen. So when there's an appointment for a director, I bring that to you for your approval. But you're not the appointing authority per se. You're the approving authority for the appointment.
This is an advisory board.
Yeah.
That's correct,
Basically.
right. And it was, we went through a facilitated process where we had some folks come in from outside, and from the, where did they come from? Maya?
Maya, right.
Maya, a team building group. And we reached we came to the consensus that adopting the best practices for councils on aging that is done across the state is what Littleton's Council on Aging wanted to do. And there were some steps that we needed to do to change it, to have the role of the Council on Aging become advisory only, and that the administrative role would be done by the staff. And that we mapped it all out. We tried to have, you know, written agreements in place so that we'd all know what the rules were, and to have the joint commitment to continue to communicate with one another to make sure that it worked. So that's where we are.
Any other questions for Keith? I guess not.
I hear the camera moving though.
Oh. Distracting, huh?
Yes, it's
All
like
right.
at the back of my head.
No, you were right on.
And thank you. That was very,
And we're happy to, I'm happy to come back here on a maybe more regular basis. I was coming here all the time for a while.
right, we missed
We
you.
had a lot of projects to work on. We've got, as has been said, there's some other big projects that are in the works, and we're gonna make sure that those come off very smoothly. So-
And I just would like to remind people that both the MOA, the Memorandum of Agreement, and the, our rules and regulations, of course, are in your manuals that were given to you. Everybody has a manual with that information. Yes, George?
I want to ask Keith a question. With regards to the transportation system, is that eventually going to be taken over and the town is going to establish a transportation department, so to speak, or something for the town?
I'm not, I would say probably not, that it won't be something the town does as a town department. What we are actively working on, though, through our transportation is we're working with a group of somewhere between 5 and 7 other neighboring municipalities through a so-called Transportation Management Association we've set up called Crosstown Connect. And we are working not only with those 5 to 7 municipalities, but also with the largest employers in those towns, and with our regional transit authorities to try to figure out what a better way is to provide transportation services. We've done little pieces of it up till now, that we, for example, procure our dispatch services for the COA vans through Crosstown Connect and their dispatcher. We are getting some grants this year, which will allow us to look at designing fixed route bus service in Littleton and in surrounding areas to help move people to help move them around, from linking them with the commuter rail stations is one goal, but also linking them with medical facilities. Emerson Hospital is a big focus of what we might try to do with fixed route service, connecting folks to the commercial developments like the Point. So we're trying to figure out how all those would work. It might work by extending a bus that comes from the Lowell area in one direction. It might involve one that comes from Fitchburg to the area. It might involve bringing other equipment online to move us between towns. We haven't worked out what any of that looks like. We're still studying it, but the goal is to recognize that our folks can't always just rely on driving themselves in an automobile, and that there need to be other options available for folks in our town and the neighboring towns to get where they need to go.
One last question. Had the MBTA considered extending the rail back to Littleton on the turnaround on the earlier rail system to go back into Boston? Because a lot of people
Yeah.
coming out of New Hampshire, they right here,
Yeah.
they're coming right in here versus where their turnaround now is in Acton there.
Yeah, they have, the MBTA has made some progress even already, it used to be that all of the trains coming from Boston to, on the Fitchburg line, that not all of them made their way to Littleton, that there were 4 of them that didn't make it here, that they stopped in Acton,
Right.
South Acton, and turned around. Now all of the schedule, as of last August, they've done it, the MBTA has done it sort of without a big rollout, but they have increase the service that goes to Littleton Station. It gets, the first reverse commute of the day arrives here an hour earlier than it used to. It used to be that the first train from Boston arrived in Littleton at 9:40. Now it arrives at 8:30. So that's good. We want it to arrive even earlier, like before 8 o'clock. And we want to have more frequent service during the day. So we're working on those things. And the advantage is that it's of interest to then the other communities, whether it's Boxborough or some of the businesses at Devon's or Westford. They're all interested in having us have a shuttle that's helping to meet people at a train station, because then it can help move people around to where they want to go. So we're trying to put all those pieces together.
Thank you.
I'll be happy to update the council and as we go forward with this. Great. All set?
I believe we are. Any other questions for Keith? I think.
Train waiting for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was very helpful.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to scoot back up now to old business. Oh, no, I'm
Oh, the
sorry. I
Friends.
almost skipped over the Friends. That would be non-forgivable. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Very nervous.
Oh, dear. I can't get that angel nervous. So. All right. So we do have a copy. I think at our last meeting, we mentioned the mission. You had mentioned that it was done, the mission statement, your mission statement. And a copy has been handed out to the board members in their packet today. And I'm asking that you put it in your manuals. There is an article about the Friends in your manual anyway, and stick it in the manual, right alongside the article about the Friends. Okay? Just so you know we've done that. And I'm going to put mine right over here now, so I don't forget it. Okay.
So, well, I think I'll have Nancy talk about the intergenerational programs that happened recently and are happening, and
Yes, and the only bad part of this was that two of the functions were a day apart. So some of us were here like 24/7. And, but no, the Girl Scouts came, and they're coming again to do a free luncheon for us. It's a limit of 30 people. They originally were going to do it in the diner, but now it's going to be in the multi-purpose room, and they're bringing crock pots. So that'll be interesting. And if the weather's nice, we'll go outside. If not, Bill Cole is setting up tables and chairs for us. And the Parker School came. They came twice. Once we made paper bowls under the direction of Dottie Ruiz. And then we had a pizza party, and that also was a lot of fun. And the third graders are supposed to come today, third grade teachers, to bring spring placemats and cards that they have made for the diner.
They came in this morning and they dropped those off as well as some nice centerpieces.
yeah, they've been very good about doing this for, the
During-
past year anyway.
During the fall and winter, they decorated for Halloween, Thanksgiving, and the holidays. And then once that was over, there are 6 classes. 2 classes came and decorated for winter, 2 came for spring, and now 2 for summer. So they worked very, very hard on that, and we're very, very happy. We made certificates for all the third graders. We had help with Nancy Glencross to design the certificate. And Dottie Ruiz, she, via a computer, printed each name on each sheet. I think there were over 200, right?
127, wasn't it?
127. And each student was given their very own certificate, so that was very nice. And they were in the Independent a week ago with my picture.
We were lucky to be in the Independent, by the way.
I was, yes, it was a very nice picture though. It
Yes,
really was.
It was a very nice
Yes.
picture.
The third graders are also the ones that do all the birthday cards that Tina sends out every month, and they are charming. say the least.
Yes, they are. And Gail Dalton makes sure that the placemats and cards, if there are any, go out with the Meals on Wheels. And that is very, very nice.
Yep.
Adds such a personal kind of touch to everything.
Yes.
So, the next thing that the Friends are planning is their annual fashion show. And that's gonna be on June 10th. I can't tell you what the theme is or anything because we're not that far yet.
She's been a little busy.
We need models. Need models.
Yeah, we need models. Exactly, yes. So, that is the latest, and then we're gonna calm down for the summer
Yes.
and start
The
up again.
volunteer lunch.
Hmm?
The volunteer lunch.
This week, tomorrow. Not
No.
tomorrow,
Wednesday.
Wednesday, volunteer lunch.
Oh, yeah, the volunteer, yeah, well.
But that's not for everyone.
Yeah, that's not for everyone, so it's, we don't usually. The what? Oh, well, that's coming in September, we're gonna, thank goodness I have all these great members on the board. I don't pay attention because they do. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna celebrate our 25th anniversary in September.
Wonderful.
And Nancy's been working on that too and is doing a fabulous job. We can tell you about that now, but we're still working on it, so.
We have arranged with Kimball's to do a barbecue and an ice cream social for us. And we have the date picked out, which I'll share with you soon, but it's not yet. I'm picking up the contract sometime this week. And we will not be doing the boats and the mini golf. We're just going to do a barbecue and an ice cream social. They'll set up everything for us like they did last year for the ice cream social. This will be, and we're only going to charge, I think it's $5 for all of this. It'll be limited to 100 people. I will let you know. It'll be in September.
September.
It'll be on a Wednesday in September. Off the top of my head, I think it's the second Wednesday in September, but we're still working on this. It's going to be advertised with a limit of 75 people because we want to have our Friends board. We're hoping that this board will come, some of the selectmen, and so we're putting it down to 75. We're pretty sure that's going to be packed. It's costing us a small fortune, and to only charge $5, I think is very reasonable.
Well, the ice cream social last year was a great success, I
Yes.
think.
Mhm.
So,
And this will
that's-
be larger,
Yes,
so,
yeah.
yeah. So that's our schedule for now.
You people always have so much in the works.
We actually have everything scheduled out to June of 2016.
Oh, my gosh. George?
Question, Bob. I really appreciate, as a senior, first and foremost, everything that the Friend does for the seniors here
Thank
in,
you, George.
here in the town. And you all really go overboard in providing goods and services to the senior. I think that you probably, at a minimum, maybe bump this thing up to $6 or something. There ain't too much that you can get for $5 or $6, and what y'all give, in addition to what you give us that is free, it is costing, and you know, an extra dollar, an extra buck here or there, you know, can really help you a long ways, and I would encourage you to consider that.
Thank you. George, what we really do is think about the people who find even $5 a little high, because a lot of seniors, so many of us are lucky enough that, you know, we do that, but there's so many that can't. So this is one of the reasons that we really labor over how much we're going to charge, because we've thought about $10 and then we go, ooh, that's maybe too much. Let's go to $7. Well, let's do $5 like we usually do. So that's the only reason why we kind of.
And this is our 25th anniversary. I mean, next year we might charge you $25.
Knowing you, you probably would do that.
Well, thank you, George.
Yeah, but I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
We're very lucky here in Littleton, I think.
We
We're a
are.
very, very active friends group, and it's a blessing, to say the least. All right. Thank you. It's always exciting to hear what they're up to, so. Okay, I think we're going to move into old business. And we have an update on the kitchen project. We've touched on that a little bit with George's comments about the chips and the location of them, but you want to catch us up, Pam?
For those who weren't at the meeting on May 16th or April 16th with the PMBC, Joe Colintro, who is the head of the PMBC, came to the meeting, brought blueprints, which are up in the office on the wall, if you want to see the blueprints, and laid out essentially the timeline for us of that project and how they're going to be managing it. Out of that, the decision was made that the kitchen will close, the whole diner will close on the day after Memorial Day. Now, that's not the day that demolition is going to start, but that's the day that Gail will start emptying the kitchen out. And it will be closed until the day after Labor Day. And again, that's not anticipated to be the date that they are supposed to finish. They're supposed to finish a couple of weeks before that, but it gives us a little time to move things back into the kitchen area, obviously. We're very fortunate that Lisa Larrabee at Pine Tree Park, the Littleton Housing Authority, is letting us use their kitchen and their community room for our lunch program and for preparing for Meals on Wheels. And that means that lunches and Meals on Wheels will go on with no break whatsoever, which is absolutely, I think, the best scenario that we could have hoped for. The change will be that, like many of the other COAs, everything will come in prepackaged from Backman. Right now, Gail and her crew do quite a bit of cooking. For example, if we're having spaghetti, they will cook the spaghetti as opposed to bringing it in cooked and holding it, which is one of the reasons that some of our meals are better than some of the other centers. So we're going to go to just completely prepared food by Backman. There won't be any cooking that we'll do. And we were over there, Jennifer Stiff from Minuteman Senior Services came out. She approved the kitchen, so there should be no roadblocks now from us just going ahead. I don't know if you saw in the Independent, but the ad went in for the bids, so we should be progressing. According to Joe, with the PMBC, they put it out for bid, the bids come in, they'll open the bids, it'll probably take them about 10 days to get a contract settled and signed. Then we'll have an actual demolition start date, and contractually they are to be done late in August. So I already talked with Joe, or with Bill Cole, who's on the PMBC. They're going to try to order all of the equipment in advance so they can be tested and make sure it works properly, and we'll be ready to go in, which should facilitate the flow of things. I couldn't be happier about it. This is just really the best sort of arrangement. And if we were waiting for the Congregational Church, we'd still be waiting. Any questions?
That's exciting. I think it's exciting. We're finally getting there.
Everyone is
We
very
can
excited about it.
Yes, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, I think. So,
There are a few changes. Men's and ladies' breakfast, which was going to go to combined for June, July, and August anyway, is just going to go on hiatus. Because again, there's just not room in that kitchen to do what they would normally do. Bingo was going to go on hiatus in the summer anyway because Dottie's not going to be around, so Bingo's on hiatus. And that's pretty much takes care of everything that needed to be considered.
timing is really good, I think, that
Mhm.
actually as it turned out, so
Yep.
it seems good.
Normally in the summer, we would have a cookout with the fire department and a cookout with the police department and a cookout with Representative Arciero and State Senator Eldridge. Barbara and I have already been talking about the legislative cookout, and we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to find an alternative site, likely over at the fire department, which would give us access to Fay Park and still have an internal area in the garage if it were to rain. And I'm going to talk with both the fire and the police to see if they want to go ahead and do their barbecues, police have already said they'd like to do it in their parking lot and open up the community room. So I think with a little ingenuity, we'll be able to have the things that we would normally have in the summer.
Okay. Any questions for Pam? Great. That is exciting. Very exciting. Thank you. Okay. Update on the needs assessment project, and we don't have, Bob usually does that, does he not? Can Susan or anyone kind of catch us up?
Just the postcards went out. I hope everybody got their postcard. And I believe, Pam, you didn't?
No, she didn't.
You didn't get your postcard, Patty?
I didn't get a postcard nor a survey, and a
got
number
two
of
of
people
them.
on my street didn't get a postcard or a survey.
The survey hasn't been sent
No.
yet, but the
Yeah, yes it was.
postcard.
I
We
got
didn't get
mine and I mailed it in today.
Yeah,
I
that's
haven't gotten mine.
Some people did get
some
it.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, somebody
Okay.
in the knitting group got their survey, but many,
Yeah.
most of us didn't, so.
I haven't.
Postcards.
Yes, my husband got one and I got one,
Now,
yeah.
I should point out that it's based on the town's
Census,
records.
that's right. If you're not,
So if you didn't return a January census form, you did not receive the postcard and the needs
Well, I
assessment.
returned my form.
Which doesn't mean that you can't participate, just call the office, there's a number you call, and you can arrange for a survey.
they'll send it to you.
Is the postcard being sent
Mm-hmm.
off of the same census data
Yes,
as the
it-
survey?
Mhm.
Okay,
50 and older.
50 and older.
right.
Sorry, Chris.
You didn't make it.
Gee,
You didn't make the cut.
Well,
but we could get you
There
one.
it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So, okay, is there a way to do a postcard just based on other town records than the census data, so that people know you may not have received it, but there is a way for you to obtain it online? What do we, I forget what we.
It's been in the paper.
It's been in the Independent, it's been in the Broadcaster.
Yes.
I plan to put it up on the scroll with the number for them to call if they did not receive a survey. There was a little glitch in mailing out the survey. They were all set to mail it, and they discovered there was a typo, so they had to go back to the printer. And I don't believe it was mailed before Thursday of last week, or maybe Friday. And I wouldn't be surprised, knowing our post office, if it kind of went out in batches,
Right.
which is why probably some people already got it, depending on what street you live on.
There's
And
an
the rest
article
will be
in
getting it.
Action Limited on Saturdays too. on it.
Yes, right, there's
Yes.
also an article, and they all mentioned about the census, and if you did not receive it, to get in touch. And people on the desk are all prepared to give the number for people to arrange to get one. You know, there's plenty of time. It's not like it's not like if you don't respond by May 6th, you're off the list.
Anybody watching right now too can hear
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Call our office,
Call.
978-540-2470, and we'll hook you up with the right people.
And it really is important to get your feedback, get everyone's feedback, so. Just want to encourage people, if someone's watching and they didn't get it, to really use initiative and
Right.
participate.
Thursday or Friday.
Wow.
Mailed it today.
Yeah, that's interesting, because we
You
were
live
just
near
discussing
the
it.
post office. I live on the outskirts of town, where the outcasts live.
The Wild West.
The Wild West.
If I get it today, I didn't get it either.
I didn't either.
Postcard.
There we go.
It's all right. I'll wait.
Well, if you don't get it, please call in and
Yeah.
make arrangements to get it.
I haven't received it either yet, so, I mean, there's a lot of people that
I live on
haven't.
the
The
outskirts.
Postal Service was busy Saturday picking up for food.
Food and stuff.
Food
it
can-
could
loaves and
be-
fishes.
I get
Very,
my, I
very
have a
busy.
post office box, so maybe that had something to do
Right.
with it too.
Ah, that could.
That's right. They were very
They didn't
busy.
have to take it
It was a
anywhere.
town-wide drive.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. And that is very exciting as well, I think, so it's going to be very, very nice to hear the results of that. Anything else about the needs assessment?
I don't think so.
Nope.
I'm sure we'll have a lot more to say at the next meeting.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah, we will. Okay. Patty,
Yes.
we have a little update. I just have to say, I went to town meeting
Oh, good for you.
before, and we're going to be talking about that, report on the town meeting and improving access, and I did go, Pam was there and Barbara was there.
Well, I didn't get to go. I had another commitment.
Well, I
but
remembered
did
that.
Get a report from the town clerk.
I remembered that, so, but it was wonderful, I thought. It was just wonderful. There were changes in the parking. It was, and the portable mics were available, and it was just
Well,
great.
Diane said there were less seniors than normal.
Right.
But there were only 143 people there anyway, which was
Is
kind of
that-
too bad.
Yeah.
She said that only 15 people sat in the special area, which was kind of unfortunate, but that's okay. At least it was there. The high school student didn't show up, so fortunately Barbara was the microphone lady. Thank you, Barbara, for stepping up to the plate there. Some young woman sat in the area,
Yes, I saw that, yeah.
and she did use the mic, which was very good. So it served its purpose.
She'll be old someday.
If she's lucky.
Very good, that's good. But only a couple of people used the mic, but, I mean, it was such smallly attended, it wasn't gonna do anything anyway.
Yeah, there weren't
The signs were up for the parking, and I guess it was utilized, but not as much because there weren't many people there. But her new signs didn't arrive, but the ones that were up did serve the purpose. So the new ones will be here for the next time around, which is good. And apparently the seating that wasn't utilized was quite substantial. So when we do fill it up, when we're all there,
Yeah,
it'll be really good.
it was really fabulous. I think that you didn't have the amount of seniors that we were thinking of because this particular town meeting wasn't, something where you wanted to be there and vote, or there was going to be something fabulous for the seniors. But the ones that came appreciated it, and also I heard someone commenting about parking was good. So it worked, even though there weren't a lot of people. So you still have.
I think it
town meetings.
accomplished what we set out for it to accomplish.
Yeah,
And I think it will be useful in the future anyway.
absolutely.
So I think it was a well worth effort that we did.
Oh, wonderful, it was.
And we'll just keep it in mind for the next,
Well, it
town
continued,
meeting,
for voting, and it was wonderful for voting. It
Yes.
just went right up, it was just great, thank you.
I thought it was well worth the effort, from the little bit I heard. And for those who went, it was beneficial, particularly the parking, as you say.
I think another good aspect of it is it created communication and interactivity between you and Chris and Diane, and got other people.
The town moderator.
Yes, got
yes, it
people
really did.
involved in,
It got a dialogue going that
Yes.
they recognized that there was an issue. And it will continue for a while until it gets, more friendly and useful to everybody. Yeah, it was well worth it. It was fun, Chris.
I know at the election that Diane, of course, I was over there a few minutes after 8 to vote, and they had it set up, so it looked nice, and there was cars that was parking where they had designated these places, and they had the candidates, they was a row back from where they usually are. So I thought it was set up real well as to the past with regards to making that space available there for. And I think as far as the town meeting go, there was really nothing controversial about that town meeting, so that's why you didn't see anybody there amount to anything. But if there had been controversial issues going on there, I think you would have found a lot of people who've been there. So, and now and then, it was a quick meeting. They
And
did
they set a
it in an
record,
hour,
didn't they?
35 minutes
Hour,
or something like
hour and a
that.
half, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I think that was a record breaker for a town meeting.
yeah, it was.
Can I say something on that?
Absolutely, Jean.
Where they have the 4 handicap spots.
Mhm.
Now, yeah, they pushed their boots back, but they were still up there gathering all around talking, so they were blocking those spaces anyway.
the
So maybe
college
the boots weren't there, but
candidates, at the election, the
Yeah.
candidates.
they were there, just talking.
Right.
So, it was helpful that they moved the boots back, but something's gotta be done about asking them not to stand there
I
and.
think in that situation, it's okay just to hit them.
Is anyone gonna,
And Mark, don't televise it, blink that out.
is anyone going to discuss Article 14 that passed
Excuse me?
at the town meeting?
We're not discussing it on our agenda today, that's for sure, so. If you want it on the agenda to discuss, we can put it on.
No,
next-
I'm sorry, but you're just talking about the town meeting. I thought it would fit right in.
Oh. Well, go ahead.
No,
When we were talking about improving access to town meeting, not town meeting in general.
She said, go ahead. Go ahead and tell them. Now you guys in
No, I didn't go. I'm not going to discuss it. I just thought that maybe somebody that went there would discuss the article that the people went to vote on that passed
What's the article?
on the tax write-off, on the tax program for the seniors work program.
That was passed.
That was, yes, yeah, but nobody mentioned it. That's why I'm
Well, it's
bringing it
passed
up.
every year, that's a routine thing.
Yeah, it
No,
has
it's
to
a
be on
routine
every
thing.
year.
It's just a routine thing that goes on every year.
Right.
Mark, there's one other thing I wanted to mention about the needs assessment.
I'm sorry, sure.
Well, I just remembered it.
Okay.
I'm remiss for not mentioning it before. We do have a copy of the census list that Diane provided to the consultants. So when you call in to tell us that you didn't receive your needs assessment, we can also check on that list and note any discrepancies there.
Because it might be that you were on the census list but still didn't get your thing.
Or the other way
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
You thought you said census ends.
It's waiting for
actually-
you at home.
And regardless, though, whether they filled out the census or not, by calling, they get it.
Right.
No
And
problem.
everyone's
Right.
entitled to do it and. yeah.
Right.
Thank you for calling.
But the consultant had to work from something, and
Right.
I don't know if you have any better ideas on where they could have gotten a list of people in town that were over 50. That's the problem, is the over 50 part.
Hmm.
And it's the census that has that data because it has the birth dates. Thank you, Mark.
Okay. Well, thank you, and thank you again, both you and Chris, Patty. for all
Yes,
your
you did a
work
lot
on
of
the,
work.
Access to town meeting and to voting. I think you mentioned, I think before, last month, that it's gonna require monitoring at events and, maybe some other small recommendations as we stumble across things, but overall, it's a huge improvement and accomplished in such a short time, so.
Yes, you
No, I
guys
think-
did a good
I think
job.
as the folks have said, it will be very meaningful for future town meetings. Probably get 2 volunteers for the next one, that we'll need instead of 1 for the microphone. and-
Yeah.
But,
Well, you have the 2 portable mics, so you really needed to have,
couple.
so, but it worked well.
That's
It really
great.
did. Okay. I think we're moving on, and we said that at the last meeting that we would discuss the job description and review it. You have a copy of it in your packet. And what I would like to do is go around, and we reviewed this, you did all look at it at the last meeting. I'll give you a few minutes to look at it again. But I'd like to do it in the following manner. I'm, again, complimenting Tim Goddard, because I think he has a good system of, if you would like to put something on hold, one of the items here on hold, make a note, I'll make a note of that, and then we'll come back, we'll go through, just isolate the things that we have questions about. So if you have a question about a particular thing, speak up and say you'd like to put it on hold or whatever, and then we will discuss each item, and we don't want to, because we don't want to get bogged down if we can avoid it. So, take a couple of seconds to review it again. You should be familiar with it.
And this is the copy taken directly from the manual,
Yes.
the board member manual.
Okay. And you had adequate time? No? All right. Why don't I just go around and ask you if you have anything that you would like to have put on hold, and I'll just jot down that item, all right, and then we'll go back to it, if that's okay with you, all of you? Does that sound reasonable? Okay,
Okay, by me.
okay. Jean, do you have anything you would like to put? No. Discuss further? No? Okay. Barbara?
No, I think we found everything. Okay.
George?
Yes, I like to put 2 items.
Yep.
Making a personal financial contribution,
Okay.
and the last one, declaring all conflicts or potential conflicts of interest and refrain from voting on such matter.
All right, the financial contribution and the very last one on the bottom of the second page, correct?
Right.
Thank you. Chris?
Both of those are good questions to ask, as well as enhancing the public image of the COA. Third bullet from the top. There's a question just about some of
Okay.
the rules associated with that. And the bullet about refraining from intruding on administrative issues as a responsibility of the staff, except to monitor the results of the COA. I think that's worth talking about.
Okay, so there's 2 items on the first page, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, got it. Susan?
I have nothing.
Nothing, okay. Mary?
I don't have anything.
Patty?
I think a lot of it's just wording for me,
Okay.
but it's a number of them, and I'm not saying that they're wrong, I think it's just semantics of the wording. Under advanced mission of the COA, the second dot bullet,
Uh-huh.
the second dot bullet, the third dot bullet, and particularly inform others
Okay.
about other COAs. I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to be.
Talking to your neighbors about the COA.
I don't know.
Is that the third bullet on the first page?
Third bullet, the same one you were already,
Already put.
Chris mentioned, so we
Chris,
will
okay.
discuss that bullet, okay? You have other ones?
On the other page, actively participate in all board activities. I think that whole paragraph needs to be looked at.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes, like bullet number 3 says serve on a committee, and then the last bullet talks about subcommittees. So is it a committee? Is it a subcommittee? It's.
Okay. All right, we'll try to get through that.
I do question the same bullet George does of personal financial contributions or in kind.
Right, we're gonna discuss it, as long as,
But
we
it's
don't have to
in
have it
kind.
down twice, right. Okay.
And what is this conflict of interest?
What is conflict of interest?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have to find those policies, I think, then, and to help explain that to you. So, we have a lot to discuss. We're not gonna have time to do it all today, I don't believe. It's already 2:32. We're gonna start, give it a good stab, but we do have some important new business too. So, all right, we're gonna start, and
I'm just gonna make a suggestion, you have a lot of reports, a new business here in reports.
correct.
Would it make any sense to just postpone this till, and you have an annual meeting next month, would it make any sense to postpone this?
We can do it, postpone it in its entirety.
I would propose we postpone it because you have an annual meeting next month,
Right, we do.
and you have nominating, annual meeting, and then you have all these reports.
I might be able to, yes, we can do that and just set aside maybe a special meeting even to go over it if we have to.
Why don't we could do the reports now, and if there's any time, work on something here.
Yeah, we could do that. I'm, flexible. Be happy to do that. Well, let's go on. Then you want to, all of us are in agreement, we'll skip ahead, try to get the rest of our business done, and then if we have time, tackle some of it.
Okay.
Sounds like a good plan. Okay, so moving on, we'll just set that aside for a few minutes, hopefully a few minutes. And we have new business, and one is to appoint the nominating committee. And I have been approached by 3 board members who wish to serve on the nominating committee, so I would like to appoint them to the nominating committee. It is the time for that to happen, because we have to decide who is going to be presented and who would like to be considered for the different positions, the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary. So, Susan, Dunn, Patty, and you had talked about being on the nominating committee, and Barbara Cam
Okay.
Okay.
will be our nominating committee. Okay?
And they'll
So-
prepare the slate to be presented at the
At the
annual meeting, which is the
next
next
month.
meeting.
So,
Madam Chair, I think that, not that I want to, but I think that if you're going to get candidates to serve on there, you need to open it up to the board and see if there's anybody that wants to serve on it beside the people that you already have there.
I think it says that we have a nominating committee shall consist in our rules and regulations of 3 members. And nobody contacted, people that contacted me, I'm acknowledging, nobody else has contacted me about that. So,
I thought it was done at the board, not prior to. I mean, I could be wrong, that's when they always did it before, they always opened it up and.
well, we
asked
are,
the
we're doing
board.
it now.
Yes, but you already said who was gonna be on it, though.
Because people approached me about it, yes.
Yeah.
So, and
I'm
I,
just saying the reverse of that is that it's normally done at the board.
during the
But no-
meeting, during the
yes,
meeting.
Yes.
Well,
Madam Chair, I support what George is saying. This would have warranted a conversation about the process and the names that have come forward. I'm in support of the committee as proposed, but I'm not in support of the process by which, well, I think there's a conversation.
well, I'm willing to have a conversation. If are there other people that would like to be on the nominating committee that are not saying something, is that the issue?
No, well, just in the event, and we have members that aren't here today, and
Well, the
Yeah,
nominating
yeah.
committee, our rules and regulations do state that the nominating committee will be appointed at this meeting. So,
And
the
anybody,
meeting before the annual meeting.
Yes.
which is, yes. And so that's why we are addressing it today, so it needs to be addressed today. And the nominating committee needs to be appointed. Okay, because if they have a month just to get ready to present the slate.
Understood.
Okay,
Don't have a problem
Go
with the
ahead.
people that wants
Yeah.
to be on there.
Nor do
I'm
I.
just saying that we always has done it, saying that you need to do that, but it was
Yeah.
done at the board. The board opened it up and found out if whoever wanted to
Then we
serve on
should
that.
take, do you want to be on the nominating?
No, you,
Do you want to be on the,
I have been.
yeah,
no, Madam Chair,
Well, I think
my
that's
point
what-
is that
I know it is.
on the nominating committee, they
Mm-hmm.
always brought that subject up at the board and find out who would like to serve on there. We need 3 members, who would like to serve on there. The only thing I'm saying, you had 3 names that was already given to you, and it was done not at this board, and.
I
you
just brought it up at this board.
No, no,
Maybe I
I-
phrased it wrong then.
I'm
Maybe
saying-
I need to rephrase it. All right? There are 3 board members who have indicated a desire to be on the nominating committee. With those 3 members, people, acknowledge that they have a desire so that then I can appoint them. Is that better said, rather than the way I said it. I mean, it's mincing words in my opinion, but anyway.
And 6.2 here, it says the chairperson shall set the agenda and preside at all COA meetings, shall appoint all committees, and shall be an ex officio member. Shall appoint all committees.
And it says they are appointed by the chair at the May meeting in our rules and regulations. So I understand what you're saying, and you're saying the names should have been mentioned or not mentioned or whatever. You didn't like the way I did it, that's all.
No, I didn't like the way you did it. I just made a point that the names that you gave, I just thought that if there was anybody else, because you didn't give anybody else an opportunity to say, oh, I would like to have been on that too. You just said, these are the 3 names, and you was appointing them. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Do you want to take back the 3 names and open it up to the board?
Say, who wants to be on it?
We take do you want
would
to
like
take
to
the
serve
3
on the
names
nominating
back and
committee?
open it up to the board?
Put your hand up.
It has to be done today.
Yes, who would like to serve in the nominating?
And then we'll leave our hands down and let the rest of them sign up for it.
And I think,
You 3
That is an excellent idea.
Want to serve?
That's what you should do, Madam Chairman.
Yeah.
Take your statement back and ask the board members who want to be on it to raise their hands, and the 3 of us keep our hands down. There you go, Madam Chairman.
All right. I can rescind my statement. I mean, I
yeah, that was.
think it's a little ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it's embarrassing, and quite frankly, there was no harm intended. I was just trying to be succinct and to the point.
Absolutely. But I
And-
think there's more to it, though. I think the
If
other
people
point-
were interested, they should have spoken up.
That's the point. So what I'm getting at is, I think
Yes.
what George and I are saying, not to put word in George's mouth, what we're saying is the question should have come first. Does anybody want to serve on this? Not,
Right.
I have 3 that are, and let's
You're
go.
faulting the way I presented it.
Minor point. The second, though, is that you had 3 volunteers is exciting because we have subcommittees with 2. And because we often don't get volunteers for the subcommittees, and you're just thinking, this is wonderful, 3 people have raised their hand, because we don't always get that, and and it's reflected here, the participation on subcommittees is required. And I think that's part of what was in the mindset, and it's a bigger conversation, people are willing to do it. And, we don't have enough willingness to maybe do some of the subcommittees. So, and I think that was part of the mindset, frankly, in your defense, Madam Chair, not that you need one. So, and all of that, the 3 names that have been thrown in are wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, not about the names, not about the individuals.
Well, I might-
Please do
I
it.
might
Don't change your
withdraw my
mind.
name.
What if we beg?
No, quite frankly, it's, I think, rather picky. If you didn't choose, you didn't like the
Yeah.
way that I did it. And,
Yeah.
I was going by what I thought was the rules and regulations, and people came forward, expressed their desire. I saw no need to go any further because we had three people that wanted to do it. So I am appointing them, and we will move on.
That's the end.
Yes. So. All right.
Well, maybe we ought to make it very explicitly clear for those who haven't read the rules and regulations that the next meeting in June
Yes.
is the annual meeting, and there will be an election at that time for the officers.
And the nominating committee will present the slate of officers.
Madam Chair, normally they also tell the candidates as to how they are to contact, and they usually set up a format, because I remember before, there was a question about voting, and even Keith was here. So I just think that we just need to make sure that the people know how they're to get in contact with the nominating committee. So if they are interested in the office, I think they ought to know how to do that.
All right, thank you. So what George is just saying, if I understand you correctly, George, is that any board member who is interested in any of the positions, the chair, the vice chair, or the secretary, needs to contact Barbara Cam or one of the nominating committee, Susan Dunn or Patty Hunt, and let them know that they have an interest in serving. Correct?
Madam Chair, may I make a comment?
Yes, you may.
As being part of the nominating committee, I think an email will go out from the 3 of us saying that we accepted your appointment to the nominating committee, and we will accept nominations through a certain date in order to present them to the board at the June meeting. As of this date, they'll be cut off. If we don't get any nominations, we will come back and let you know.
Thank you.
Does that suit everybody's fancy?
Yes.
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you. I think that will help organize it for you and clarify things again, if somebody doesn't
So
watch
for
the
the
tape
board
of the
members
meeting.
not here, they will know who the nominating committee
Correct.
is. And if they want to submit a nomination, they have to a certain date to do it.
And board members generally understand that, but anyway, let's move on.
We have to contact
Okay.
Louise because she doesn't have email.
Well, we'll make a phone call.
And the next item, right under the nominating committee, was the fact that June 8th is the annual meeting, and the nominating committee will present the slate of officers, and people will be nominated at that time. Thank you. We have covered item C with Keith Bergman. We have, down to reports. We have the budget monthly reports.
So
And-
even though Bob was not able to be here, he did prepare the budget reports, and I believe I forwarded those by email to everyone, so you all have a written copy. I don't know if there are any questions on that. We are obviously approaching the end of the budget year. And on June 30th.
Just in general, I don't have, it's not really, well, it is a question, but I know we've been talking a lot about it, and I don't want a specific report, but how's it going with the transportation monies in general?
I mentioned that in my director's
Okay.
report. We're getting money done.
Great, that's good, good to hear. Okay,
And the money that comes in for the transportation will appear on this report because it's
Right.
a gift fund, a 200 report, 200 fund.
are there any questions for Pam on that? She will speak more about the transportation money, I guess, in her report, specific report, so. Which is the second item here, so why don't we move on to that and kind of, if there is another question, you could bring it up, if it has to do with money, just to make sure you understand, if you have a question.
So everyone should have a copy of the director's report. I apologize that this was not mailed out to you by email. Last week was just a very, very crazy week for us, and I really didn't even complete it until this morning. Couple of things that I want to point out. The Littleton Community Farm has very generously donated some community-sponsored agriculture shares. Right now, there are 5 of them that they have donated, and Tina's working to find families to take advantage of that. Not really a COA matter and an elder matter, but I thought you might be interested in knowing that that's going on. Very, very kind of them to do that. And if we were not closing the diner down for the summer, I would probably have arranged for one of those to come to the diner. Needs assessment, we've already talked about. There was a question raised at the last meeting about the April broadcaster, people saying that they didn't receive it. I talked to the post office, they confirmed that they did deliver it to every home in town. I then went around and talked to about 35 people at random to ask them if they had received it. They all said that they received it. And then I even checked some of the houses on the streets of the people in this meeting that said they didn't receive it, and they all said they received it. And then I have to point out that we normally mail the broadcaster to 650 people, and not a single person called and said they didn't get their broadcaster who expected to get it. So I believe the broadcaster went to every home. I think the people that, well, I don't want to speculate on why people would say that they hadn't received it. Transportation appeal, if you do look at the 200 fund report, the third from the bottom, EHS Transportation Gift Fund, you can see is writing at just about $3,100 at the time this report was pulled. It's a good thing that we're doing that because we lost the transmission in our van and it cost us about $3,200 to replace that. So
Wow.
you may recall that when I first talked about getting money for transportation, one of the items I mentioned was to replenish our van fund because it was so depleted from rentals and from repairs of the other van. So this is certainly well within the scope of that, if anybody has any question about that. Are there any questions? Okay. Statistics are here. We're running about even with things. Transportation, again, March and April, you can see at the bottom of page 2, March 510, April 507. This does not look like this is ever going to abate. People really need to ride, and we're now up from 67 individuals to 71 different individuals. So each month we tend to pick up just a few more new people who haven't ridden before.
It really only declined because of the weather, I think, in January and February.
Oh, yeah.
A little,
Yeah, we definitely saw the fall off because of the weather. So that's my report, respectfully submitted. Okay. And I guess it's going to be the all director show because Tina is on vacation this week. So you have the outreach report from Tina.
Anybody want a magnifying glass? I have them here. Very small print.
And again, Tina is very busy. More new people coming in who are non-elders. You can see in the month of April, she had about 60 requests that were from non-elders and 154 from elders. So increasingly people are seeing us as the place to come and ask questions. Tina did ask me to bring up a couple of things to make sure that you were all aware of it. Some of you may have heard of or recall from years past the Catholic Heart Work Camp.
Mm-hmm.
Catholic Heart Work Camp is a group of kids that are organized through the Catholic churches to come in and do small repairs and cleanup projects at seniors' homes. They come every year. They come in July. Tina's organizing that right now. If you know someone who needs that kind of assistance, please let us know. They do prefer to help people who financially are in need, and they do want to help seniors. Some of the things they do, they've done yard cleanup for people, raking, trimming, hauling things away. They've done painting for people, sheds and outside kinds of things. They will work inside as well. All of the groups are supervised by adults. And every year they always ask us if they can do some projects that are more building kinds of projects, small building projects. Right now she has 6. She could probably pick up at least a couple more clients for that. And then we have a new event that's happening this year that's called the Day of Caring that the Council on Churches is putting together. That's strictly outside work. And where the Catholic Heart Work Camp is a whole week, this is a single day. So we're coordinating with them right now. And Tina has a couple of people lined up. They're being very strict about the income guidelines. So again, if you know someone who you think would fall within the income guidelines who could use some outside cleanup, especially after this bad winter, please let Tina know so that she can get in touch with them and see if maybe the Council of Churches can help them out. Council of Churches is in June. And of note, the birthday party has been moved to the 20th of the month because of the volunteer luncheon. So that's the outreach report. Any questions about that?
I hope she's enjoying her vacation.
She's in San Diego. I hope she is having a good time.
Oh, she really deserves it. She works quite hard.
She works very hard.
Yeah, she does.
Wednesday.
This week. Yeah, I thought so.
Barbara, senior diner report? We know all about the diner, and it's
No.
closing, and I don't know if there's anything you need to add about that.
Diner is fine. They had a little problem with the freezer, but it's been corrected. Bill found it was just a filter.
Yes.
And
But we want something that
we're
comes out
hoping
right.
everything holds out until the 26th.
Really.
But that's all it was the filter. So,
Thank you, Barbara.
and bingo, not too many people, not as many people were there last Friday, but maybe some of them thought it was going to close earlier or something, I don't know. But
Last one's the 22nd?
Huh?
22nd is the last one?
Is the freezer an old one? Because it
no.
was originally, okay, the
No,
Light and
it-
Water
That
donated one.
original one was from Edith Miller. But
Right.
no, this is the second one. This is,
Okay, from the Light and
long
Water, I
after that.
believe.
Yeah,
No, George Sanders got this.
Hmm?
He bought this, George Sanders bought this.
yeah.
Okay, it's not that
No,
old.
it's okay.
Okay.
So other than that, everything
Okay.
seems to be okay. And they're happy about going over to Pine Tree
Pine Tree
Park.
Park.
So that'll work out, I think.
Gail's real happy about
Chit
it.
check, yeah.
Good.
You know, if things had not gone well, we would have wound up with Gail having to work out another council on aging, and we would have had no lunch program.
Yeah,
That was a possibility that was on the table from Minuteman, that she would have been sent to like Acton, and there they would have staged all the Meals on Wheels. All the Meals on Wheels drivers would have had to drive to Acton to pick up Meals on Wheels, and there would have been no congregate lunch.
so,
So this is really
This
a
is
good
working
solution.
out fine.
This is a
really,
very good
yeah.
solution.
okay.
Okay. All right, Mary.
Senior communications, I have 3 items. One of them is that the Massachusetts State Legislature is backing a bill called CARE, C-A-R-E, for caregivers. It's to provide follow-up care for a person that's leaving a hospital. The care person will advise, record, and enable. That's their action. They can receive training and as needed so that they can stay at home instead of going to more expensive facilities. The bill is HB 2081. The second item I have is that the Rotary Club in Littleton gave $7,500 to Loaves and Fishes, and that supports Littleton, Ayer, Groton, Devon, Shirley, Townsend residents, which is nice. The third item is that everyone, including seniors, should make photocopy of all your wallet's contents. Do not sign the back of your credit card. Instead, put on it, photo ID required. Also, when you're paying by check for your credit card account, you do not have to put the complete number, just the last 4 digits. I'm not sure many people are aware of that. That's it.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay, we have, what, 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
But, what would you like to do? Adjourn, and then I have these items marked.
Do you guys want to talk about the nominating committee some more? No, I'm just kidding.
You are a fresh young guy. We're gonna have to smack you.
Chris, what is bothering you about that?
That it wasn't democratic enough.
All right, I have
might
one.
not be on the nominating committee.
I have one announcement, one additional announcement, which I did not make at the beginning of the meeting, and I expected somebody else to make it, actually. But I would like to just announce and let you all know that George has sent a letter to everyone. I would say, it's fair to say, the Board of Selectmen, I believe, Keith,
The center what?
letter.
To who?
Board of Selectmen, Keith. He sent it to Bob Stetson as the secretary of the COA. I think there were some other people on it, on the letter addressed, it was sent to, notifying them that he is not staying on the board.
He's retiring.
He is retiring. So, and the next month will be his last meeting in June. That's what he says in the letter. And, he sent it to Pam, too.
No, he didn't.
He didn't?
No, he
No,
didn't
okay.
I
Sorry.
have a copy of it if you'd want to see it, Pam.
Keith provided me with a copy.
So, but I just felt that, it is a letter, it was sent out to everybody, and it should be brought to the board's attention, too. So,
The only opening right now.
No,
no, there's 3 of us, myself, Barry, and George.
The
who
only
are-
one I have
whose
is
terms
to
are
the
up.
Board of Selectmen.
George
That's
is
the only
that's
copy.
indicated
That
he would
he's
like
late.
to return.
So far, yes.
I didn't get it.
No, I copied it.
Louise isn't up for a reappointment.
It
this
was
year.
on the
No.
computer.
She just, the vice chair's position is something that, you know, if she's interested in, she'll let you, one of you know. But be aware, well, now that I mention that, Louise does not receive email, so that email about the nominating, you'll have to talk to
I
her.
get a phone call.
Right, just be aware of that. She's the only board member that does not
Right.
receive
You have to
email.
either call her or give it to her,
Right.
We don't have your email.
And the only thing I
Doesn't.
would, we have a couple of seconds here.
They should.
If you use, Patty, if you use the email that I send out, if you do a return all, it
I
has,
get it.
it has Mary's.
I
It's
get
not on
it.
this.
I get all yours.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
thank
just
you.
do return all to that email.
All right.
I get it.
I'm going to end on this because we will come back to the job description. We need to do that. But I wanted to just share with you one thing because I did come prepared for this one. I know it was raised at the last meeting. On the second page, make a personal financial contribution or in-kind contribution to the COA. I looked up and brought the definition of an in-kind
I did too.
contribution. And I will share that with you so that you can think about it when you read this. It might make sense to rephrase it and say, put in-kind contribution first, perhaps, or something. But anyway, here's the definition. Gifts in kind, also referred to as in-kind donations, is a kind of charitable giving in which, instead of giving money to buy needed goods and services, the goods and services themselves are given. Gifts in kind are distinguished from gifts of cash or stock. So, for example, gifts in kind, like for an organization like Loaves and Fishes, food, whatever, toiletries, things that are donated,
But what would it-
clothing, is a gift in kind. It is not a cash or whatever. And
And
time.
also the service of being there, the time.
Time the volunteers spend there is a gift in kind. So what was in here, make a personal financial contribution or an in-kind contribution to the COA.
So what would an in-kind contribution to the COA be?
Things such as, I mean, I know when we were doing Mary Kay's, event, I contributed the napkins.
Okay.
I mean, that's an in-kind contribution. I could have given the money to somebody to go purchase them, but you know what I mean? It's like, or an in-kind donation in her memory would be a financial contribution, would not be an in-kind one. If you
Right, I'm
contributed
looking for
money
in-kind.
to the COA in memory of Mary Kay, now that's a financial contribution.
But
Not
also
an
the
in-kind.
people who showed up for that event, who set the table, put out flowers, moved
Right.
chairs and tables around.
So,
I don't know, we had something recently, I can't remember what it was, Chris, where we had put out chairs and tables. It was something down in the multipurpose room. That's a service that one could
And that's
provide as
what-
in kind.
Okay.
George goes and
Would it be
gets,
easier to say,
Sand.
provide a service instead of?
well, maybe we can retool it and rework it, but I think that's the language that is used, out there nowadays, so.
But before we get to wordsmithing each
Right.
individual word, I think we have to make sure we're all agreed on the general idea.
Correct,
And another perfect example of in kind is George goes and gets those chips
right.
and brings them and distributes those.
What are chips? I don't even know what you're talking.
Potato chips.
Potato.
Bags of potato
Oh,
chips.
potato chips.
That's an in-kind contribution.
Gambling.
And a lot of people do a lot of in-kind contributions. They don't have to do financial ones, but they do a lot. Yes, Nancy?
But should checks be made, say someone wanted to make a cash donation, a money donation, it can't be made out to the Council on Aging, correct? 'Cause
Yes, they can. Right now, I currently have an open account and anyone can write a check to me to go into that transportation fund.
Okay.
It's just a question of making the request. In the past, evidently, the other directors never made the request.
See, now if it said Mary Kay and a check to the COA, what would you do with that Mary Kay?
I would put it in the transportation
Oh,
fund.
okay.
Because a directed gift to me is, for example, I get a gift of several $1,000s every year from the Cooper Foundation. And that comes as a directed gift, which means it includes a letter that says use this for fuel assistance. And so that goes into the fuel assistance account. That's a directed gift. But every single one of those that comes in comes before this board for approval and then goes to the Board of Selectmen for acceptance
Thank you.
as well. But right now, I do have this open fund. We voted in this body to ask, to make that fund available, to ask for that appeal, and the Board of Selectmen supported us.
Well, that I realized, but I thought it had to say the transportation fund.
It does.
I'm asking people to do that just to make it crystal clear, but anything that comes in that says, it just came up last week, I got a couple of checks that just said Council on Aging, and they said, no, just go ahead and put them in that, if they're not directed otherwise.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And it,
So, we will revisit the job description, and I can entertain a motion.
the next meeting, too.
I won't be here at the next
Pass
meeting.
these down
Won't
to
be?
Pam, please.
I will be at my 50th high school reunion.
Oh,
There's a lot going on at that next meeting.
yeah.
I know, and I won't be here, and it
We
really
have,
upsets
it's the
me.
annual meeting, we do not have a meeting in July.
I know.
So we might want to postpone it until August and start dealing with it then. I don't know, perhaps, I don't know if we'll have time to do much next month either. So,
Well, I will be here in August. I could be here in July, but I won't be here in
no,
June.
there's no meeting in July.
Sometimes we don't have a meeting in July.
We're not.
I just said
was
we're
teasing.
not having a meeting.
I was
Right,
teasing.
listening half to what she was saying, yes. Okay.
I'll be here
I will
alone.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
And at the next meeting, I will bring for everyone the conflict of interest.
Right.
You probably don't remember having done the ethics thing when
You
you
did it.
joined the board, where you had to go online and take the ethics exam. That is the conflict of interest law.
Okay.
So what's referred to in this job description is by statute part of what you have to do as a board member.
Oh, do we have to go sign in with the town clerk to be on the nominating committee?
No, that's not a subcommittee. I don't think so. They
Well,
have
it all depends on who you ask. If you ask Keith, he says no.
That's a good
If you ask
question,
Diane,
isn't
she
it?
says yes.
Did we make a motion to quit?
Yes, I do.
But that's a good point, Susan.
That is a good
We'll
point.
have to check that out, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, let us know, because I'll... Yeah.
We'll find out.
Thanks.
And I don't know, I've never seen Barbara, well, probably not.
We had some